is Pete Moore on Halo Talks NYC. I have my friend Isaac Boots by way of the island of Oahu to the strong island of the Hamptons, sheltering in place, blowing up on Instagram and every other channel. Isaac, welcome to Halo Talks.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So I met you 2 years ago. I was in, I think, Bike 8 in Bryant Park. My fiance was in Bike 7. So we kind of stalked you for a period of time. Thanks for calling out the fitness police on us. Let us travel. You travel around, take your classes. So what I wanted to talk about here, most of our clients and our entire network are people on the business side of fitness. I just want to talk about you as an entrepreneur, talk a little bit about your background going through Broadway and then choreography and then Soul Cycle, and we'll kind of riff from there.
Cool. Let's do it.
So fire away. Give us take us back to Hawaii to today.
Oh man, it's a long tale, but I grew up on Oahu in a very sort of conservative but very sort of humble family. Humble means, and I always say that I came out dancing out of the womb. So I was always just sort of an anomaly with my family and with my neighborhood and my school. I always felt sort of out of place, and I always had a dream of going to New York and becoming a dancer and dancing on Broadway. And that's my dog. He's very vocal.
Davis. I did my research.
Hey! Welcome to my life.
Dude, I love it. Keep it going. Hey, why do you call the dog? What's the infatuation?
This is
Davis, by the way.
He's named after Betty Davis.
Amazing.
So I remember just sort of always like feeling like I needed to be in New York. So I'm like 7 years old. My goal was, how am I going to get there? What do I need to do? What am I good at? Okay, I love performing. I love dancing. So I better like focus, because we don't have money. We don't have coins. Mama's not like sending me to conservatory training. You know what I mean? And I mean, to be perfectly frank, I couldn't even afford dance lessons. I would just watch like Madonna videos and try to copy her. Literally, that's how I learned how to dance. And then in high school, we had a free dance program, and I just immersed myself in it. And I would stay in the studio for hours and hours and hours and just like perfect it. And I saved up money, and I bought a one-way ticket to New York the morning after high school graduation.
Nice.
Had like $100 and lived illegally on my good friend's dormitory floor. He went to NYU. He was a sophomore, I believe, and I literally lived on the floor of his dorm at 7th and Avenue B, and auditioned and danced and went to Steps dance studio and scrubbed their bathroom floors and worked their counter so I could take dance for free. And 6 months to a year after that, thankfully and luckily, I booked my first show, and I was on Broadway for 10 years, show to show. I mean, I had no break. I did 8 shows a week. And I always say that I went to college on Broadway,
Right.
And the reason I say this is because I created Torch when I was in West Side Story on Broadway. I was always sort of like, I never sort of rested on my laurels. And I think it's because of where I came from. I never had a safety net. Mm-hmm. So I always felt like, I have to stay on top of this, and I have to sort of reinvent myself and use what I've created up until this point to get to the next, right? And initially, I created Torch for me because I didn't have time to go to the gym, to run in the park, to take all the classes that I wanted to, because it was a really visceral show. It was a really challenging show, And I was in the theater all day, all night. So I created a 45-minute to an hour flow of targeted reps and body resistance that I knew I could do anywhere, in a trailer, in a dressing room, at the theater, wherever. And I used to do it an hour before the show on the Palace Theater stage with my little boombox playing my Madonna playlist.
Nice.
And slowly but surely, the rest of the cast started joining. So like there would be like 50 people from the cast, all the Sharks and the Jets and Maria and Anita, and we would all sort of do it. And then I found myself instructing them and like calling out cues. And I got this bug and I realized, you know what, I love this. When West Side Story closed, I immediately started choreographing for pop stars and I moved out to LA and I found myself in that starting rehearsal with whoever I was working with the dancers and the star themselves. I would start with like a 20-minute torch because I knew as a performer, as a dancer, that it got you ready for it. It kept you lean, kept you fit and at your optimum performance.
Do most shows, if there is a lot of choreography, is there a standard like 20 or 30 minute, stretching and almost like a pre-workout, or is that kind of everyone just stretches a little on their own?
Look, most people sort of just stretch on their own and pray to God and just like go, jump right in. But I was coming from Broadway, and LA is very different from New York. Broadway dancers are very different from LA dancers. And neither is better. It's a different beast. I came from a New York theater sensibility. And so preparing together and warming up together and having that sort of rhythm is just what I knew and what I believed in. And so I sort of brought that with me and it worked. And I found, oh wait, this is really what's taking off. Right. This is what actually has some sort of like fire in me. And I came back to New York and in LA. And when I got back to New York around 2014, 2015, I started working with high profile clients and using Torch, like using my method, which is sort of unconventional, and it's grown, and I think because I work with people in the either film industry or the music industry or the theater industry, the idea of going to a gym is really not an option for a lot of people. So I'm getting distracted.
Let me ask you a question.
Do you mind getting distracted? Because everyone was really quiet throughout the entire day. And then as soon as I start my interview, everyone's talking.
That's totally fine. You got to block that out because you're a professional, right?
Exactly.
But you're also human. So let me ask you this question. Yes. Now that you're doing the torched workout, you've got all these celebrities and people in different industries that have massive followings. It's almost like you're like the nucleus and then everyone else is like an electron going out and just like promoting this, which really you started out because of your personal needs and frustration, now is actually becoming a cure for other people.
Thank you for saying that. What's really interesting about it, and I think what's really special about it, is because I created it for me. So right. there's this raw sort of authenticity of me showing up every day at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on my Instagram Live. It's like, I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for No Kid Hungry. And it's everything that I believe in.
The interesting thing, and we see a lot of business plans, people come in and say, hey, I'm going to do this studio and it's got aerial yoga in a refrigerated space with EDM music, so people come up with all these ideas. And what I find is that the best programs are ones that have a DNA to it, where there's actually an individual. We're invested with a company, Andrea Rogers, in Extend Bar. And she basically was kind of doing Pilates and kind of got a little bored with it because she was really a Disney dancer and basically fused the two because she needed that. And she felt like that was her rhythm. And then that created a program. So you basically started this on your own, and now it's taken off into a brand and into a business. So talk about how you're like the accidental entrepreneur, in effect, right? In a good way.
I love that. Yeah.
Well, you can use it. I mean, I haven't trademarked it yet, but I might.
I love that.
7. No. Anyway, so you're the accidental entrepreneur. So you're sitting and you actually, all of your clientele and all these people that you shout outs to have agents, they got managers, they got marketing people. So it's almost like you're becoming your clients, but you're still Isaac Boots.
Yeah.
With a dog named Davis. That's really just you. And you're just trying to get your energy to the world, but you're actually a business person now. Yeah. So what do you do about it?
That's been the topic for the past few weeks. It has blown up in such a way that is really exciting. a little bit overwhelming. You know, I mean,
Sure.
I don't have a publicist.
Right.
I don't have a PR team, you know, and I'm getting DMs from the New York Times and every major publication to have interviews and this and profiles and la la. And so my training in working with celebrities for years and being in the room with the conversations and seeing their interviews and being on press tours with them did prepare me for it. You know what I mean? So I'm aware of the verbiage and how to navigate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's interesting as an entrepreneur, you know, most people have a business plan and they kind of sequentially grow it. And they say, hey, we've made some money. Let's hire a director of marketing. Hey, next thing you know, our financials are getting a little more complicated. Let's get a VP of finance. So now you're sitting here sheltering in place. You got a business that kind of blew up, not because you actually wanted it to, because other people wanted it to. Yeah. So, you know, when you think about what to do, and we've been talking about this a lot, with my partner, David here, you know, you only have a certain amount of energy per day. Everyone has a finite amount of energy. Yeah. So now you're dedicating all your energy to your creativity and like enhancing this community. At the same time, you know, maybe how could we or how could other people or maybe ask for help from some people in your network to say, hey, look, I started out doing workouts at Torch because I love you and you love what I'm doing. And now I got a business and maybe it's time for me to start asking for help.
You know what's interesting about that is I do work with a lot of people who care about me, you know, and the interesting thing about my private clientele that I've built over the past 10 years, pre this sort of boom, is they're all people who are in my life outside of training now, you know? Sure. So I'm getting a lot of great advice. I'm getting a lot of people offering to help in that way, you know? Good. So now it's about creating the team. At the moment, I'm liking this sort of raw, organic way that I'm handling everything, just because it goes with the ethos of why I started this. So it just feels correct. You know, like no one's trying to sell me. No one's trying to like barter deals, you know? Good. But the team is being sorted because as I'm developing my app and pushing it out within the next three months, it's going to have to happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's awesome. So let me ask you a question. While you're at SoulCycle, or if you taught at other boutique studios ever, one of the things that comes up a lot with health club owners and boutique fitness owners, whether they're, you know, an Orange Theory or a Club Pilates or, you know, a Switch Playground, whatever it is, like there's always this balance between how important is a studio and how important is the instructor. And if I'm the owner of a studio, I kind of want to, if I was SoulCycle, I want to put you on a calendar, but I don't know do I want to put your face in the window? You know, I don't know if I want you to be more important than me. So I guess the question for you is, when you were working at SoulCycle, or if you ever worked in another studio, like besides money, what are some of the things that we could tell our clients who are listening right now to say, hey, if you got a rock star instructor who's basically responsible for 200 or 300 members, that basically their connectivity to your club is because of this rock star instructor, what are some of the things that resonate with you or that were important to you when you worked for someone else?
I think that it's a great question.
Okay.
And it's a tricky answer.
I know it's tricky. Be careful. I don't want to piss anybody off either. I just want to understand like your hierarchy of needs.
No, here's the deal. What I think is that if you put yourself in a position to be working for a company that is not your name and you sign that contract, you're going to have to deal with the fact that your face is not going to be on the side of the building. And even if you are selling out classes and bringing in major clientele and posting on your social and pushing, ultimately, the star is the company.
Right.
In my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I always had Torched bubbling.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like when I was when I was on Broadway, I was thinking about choreographing. When I was choreographing, I was thinking about Torch. You also have to have something bubbling. You can get great experience working for another company. You can work on dedication and relationships with people who come to your class. It's a great learning ground, I think, and it's a steady paycheck, and there's insurance, and there are many, many perks. But when it comes to wanting to create your own thing and being passionate about it and being clear about it, you have to be ready to take the risk of leaving the safety net of a company like that.
Right. And you left how many months ago?
I left Labor Day last year, actually.
Okay.
Torch was actually beginning to take up a lot of my time, and so I needed to focus.
Understood. So talk about the charity No Kid Hungry and how you're getting a lot of donations for that, and what attracted you to that. Where's the food go?
It's a charity that's always meant a lot to me. I think because of my background and the idea of a child not knowing where their next meal is coming from is a pretty abysmal and horrifying notion to me.
Mm-hmm.
Not only in our country, but the world. And so as I saw Torched build from 100 viewers the first day to over 1,000 by the end of the week, with people from Guatemala to Portugal to France to Australia to Tokyo, Toronto, all over the US, I thought to myself, okay, how do I maximize this? How do I amplify this viewership in this crazy time where people are like losing their jobs, they're uncertain, people are sick, people are dying. It's not good. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I want to collaborate. I want to collaborate with No Kid Hungry because I care about them. And hopefully maybe I can, my initial goal, I was like, hopefully maybe we can raise like $1,000. I know that $50 is something like 100 meals or something like that.
Right,
I'm not specifically sure, but something like that. And I announced it, and within 20 minutes we had over $2,000, and then within 2 days we had over $10,000.
Well, I just checked. I mean, you're at 238, 595, I think, as of now. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, we're almost at 240,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was close. I'm a math guy. What are you talking about?
It's kind of amazing.
It's pretty close to 240, bud.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Yeah. I'll round up. I'll make a donation after this as well.
Thank you, baby.
Let's
feed them kids. Let's feed them kids.
Feed them up. Feed them up.
But here's the thing about No Kid Hungry too, is that people who are donating to my specific link, it goes directly to No Kid Hungry. What No Kid Hungry does, yes, of course, it's the meals, it's the actual food, but it's also the preparation to people who work for the charity. It's buying the masks, the gloves, the delivery service. It's very layered, and it takes a lot of money. You know what I mean? And so I wanted to leave this pandemic really with not only helping people's bodies and spirits and mental health and lifting their asses, but show that we can actually leave a positive imprint on people who really need it.
Yeah. So obviously the shelter in place is going to end. Where are you going to be doing Torched after this? I mean, it seems like you got a nice little area in East Hampton, and that's where you're supposed to be for the summer anyway. So
yeah, I've spent every summer out here for years, and so that's why I came out here, because I was like, look, I came out here like the middle of March, and because usually I come out here at the end of April anyway, and so I brought my dogs out here, and I just thought it was just like the right thing to do. And as far as the future of when this pandemic ends, who really knows what that'll even look like? We don't know. Are people ready to go into a group environment? Are people ready to pack in the people into one room? So I think the virtual life is
maybe here for good.
It's here, baby. Because look, here's the thing. In East Hampton or in New York or in LA, tops, I can get 70 people into a huge room, 40 people tops in a regular size room. I'm training, over 20,000 people are doing my daily Torched from all over the world. Yeah.
Maybe what you should say when some investor or some friend says, hey, Isaac, let's open up a studio, you'd be like, I can't fit everybody. So unless you want to take over the Barclays Center, like it's not the right business move.
That
Why
would
am
be
I paying?
dope.
Why am I paying rent to some guy in East Hampton or in New York City? When
It's a shift.
yeah,
It's a real shift.
I think you have to say I can't accommodate everyone. I don't want to leave anybody out. Ergo, I'm staying virtual. How's that?
You know, I mean, you know,
Done.
I definitely, I was already sort of event based with Torch. You know, I would be flown out to do events at Art Basel and Coachella and, you know,
Really?
Oscar Week, la la la.
Nice.
But I think that will be more of a thing. So it'll be more of a virtual thing, and then events. You know,
Right.
I feel like that's more of a
Kind of like
situation.
Ariana Grande or something.
Madonna.
Something like that. Or Madonna.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I agree. Hey, man, it's great to see you again. I'm
Thank
glad
you.
we had this chance to connect. I love your
that.
authenticity and keep the DNA of Isaac, because that's what works, and I love the energy. So in closing here, you want to just give a riff on the website and the Instagram for No Kid Hungry and for Torch?
Yeah, absolutely. I every day, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I offer Torch 45 minutes to an hour on my Instagram, Isaac Boots, ISAACBOOTS. And my website is www.isaacboots.com. And there are direct links to our goal for No Kid Hungry.
Awesome. All right, man, keep up the great work. It's awesome to reconnect with you. We're going to get this fast-tracked, and thanks for doing everything you're doing, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, buddy. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye. This is Pete Moore. As you know, I am a big believer in personal development. I got a time-saving opportunity here for you, recommending Dan Millman's 4 Purposes of Life. Go to audible.com/Halo Talks. You want to register there, get a free audiobook. It's $14.95 a month thereafter, giving you things that I do to make myself better, and hopefully it makes you better. Go Halo. Let's play to win.